everybody, Anthony is here. In this video I'll talk about 2D concept art, not a 3D code one. The 3D code will be the next video. And it was about this particular tank, which was later turned into a full 3D model by my student Jinyan Choi. And a few of the renders are here. So let's start and see how it came about. Alright, so I started with the photo pack, this one which I used to do the kind of photo button, and if you see the tank I'll reuse this logo. I also used another one which is free, which is like a turret assembly pack, just for some details. I just started this to start with. This one of one of the first experiments when I started. You can see essentially the part of the car is here. It doesn't look any good, so I tried some other stuff as well. It was like essentially an idea for hover tank, and then something else. And this, you can see that the tank, the original Taipan vehicle, is disappearing and disappearing. And then, okay, this was like a redoing where using the hood as something or an idea. So now we kind of started to get the idea of what is going to happen, and then just playing around with details. Like this became later the camera. They have the antenna here already. This became played around with the shapes of for the top thing. I haven't had an idea at the time yet. Then you can see here I decided, okay, so now the photo brush kind of failed, so I'll just do everything like a good old drawing. Had my grid lines in place, started just to draw it all, and this slowly filled up with color. So I had a little drone that was flying over there, but it kind of never got anywhere. So I looked at a lot of different tanks, obviously, and then I wanted to come up with some kind of interesting suspension. And that was that idea of having a thick metal plate that was connected to this rotator here inside the wheel, and it would be like electronic motors all over the place. So then you can see I started to play with the placement of the dishes at the top, and I had so many, like honestly I had like 5-6 variants, and they all look kind of pretty good, and I really had no idea where to go. But this was in the kind of final placement, but I played around with it. And yeah, so when I was building it I was also thinking about the materials. So this will be the heavy base, this will be still a heavy base, but then everything else goes lighter and lighter, so you get like sheet metal, some light connections, and everything lightens up. Thin metal used all over. So yeah, so again you can see I changed the placement again here. It became my four dishes and one big one. Then I just found a photo of some soldier online, and I put it here for scale, and you can see my drone kind of changed a little bit, became something a bit more interesting. And yeah, put this guy, so I wanted to make some interaction with this guy checking the wheel and this guy just looking at it. There's my cameras, antennas, this is essentially a bit I picked up just like a mobile and transmitter. If you see like 4G network on the building, still have the same thing, so we use that. So thinking about the headlights up front, playing with different placements. So this is a pretty modern thing right now to do, is to have this long stripe where we can see new vehicles so in games, but in the end I kind of lost them all and decided to go for just the thin sharp looking bits. So I spent a lot of time on the top of it, so really I was kind of at a loss what to do with this big area at the top. Either use it for objects to put there and place, or so have this kind of wiring there that you can put anything underneath. And here I'm just fleshing out some small details here and there. You can see this element was copied from the Taipan vehicle. This is like where the roll is for the hook and the rope. So building some suspension, just playing around with sports, introducing some other details all over the place. So at one point I thought, okay, maybe these 4 dishes looks kind of good, so I decided to imagine that there will be inside mechanical parts will be wrapped around in some type of cloth. And just carrying on. So then I decided that this started to look too busy. I removed all of that, introduced these connectors, not connectors, but another type of hooks. Then got the bolts out. So you can see like my original bolts were like this. This looked like, I don't know, an airplane type bolting, and didn't look great. So then I spread them out a little bit more interesting. So introducing this little panel was kind of cool. I could have kept it in place. I think I removed it in the end. And this is like another name for this guy, different numbers. I removed the top dish, started to think about something else. You can see that this guy is pretty much finished. And put the rollers back in place, and they go, have all those hooks in place. So I started to put, so then I came up, so I started to think that this could be a weapon against drones, so like large drones and like a microwave tower, maybe also vehicles that could be affected by some electromagnetic waves, and that kind of came apart, came together as that. And you can see they're supposed to put like a little bit randomly. Just I wanted just something there, which I then flesh out as I go. So this drum right here was an idea that I again picked up from some tank, which could be like hydraulics. So it's rotating the, not rotating, so like a damper, like for the wheel. So it absorbs the some damage, not damage, but shakiness of the ground. So you can see here, so I got this hatch at the top, some wiring of the, so then I have the spots for the wiring to go in, so you can see there's only like one wiring just goes in. And also thinking about the multiple layers of plating, so this is a heavy plate, maybe like a 1-inch heavy armor. Then I have a cover up from here, this is 1-inch heavy armor, but then insides have a thinner metal because it's just a headlight. You damage it, it's all good. And then there is inside compartments there that again they act as an extra buffer, and you don't really have to make it too, you don't have to armor it too much. Then you can see here I was thinking hard about the wheels and how to do about the wheels, and then I thought, okay, each could be like a little sensor for the wheel, and so I started to draw just little bits. Then introducing the hatches for the compartments. This is again copied from the Type N vehicle, Type N armored car, and some other bits. So okay, this is smallest final wheels. I removed the guy because he was kind of blocking the view for the wheels, and I decided that I just needed something just for the scale. I found this intake on some of the armored vehicles I was looking at as well. Actually, it was maybe it came from Type N as well, so I was like looking at that guy. Okay, put the guy back, so I was never sure to keep him or not. Doesn't look too bad. I changed the colors of the dishes so they became like military green. You can see here I did smaller details all over the place, so then I thought, okay, that could be like hatches for some smoke, projectile, stuff like that. Then carry on to flesh it out, so removing stuff and putting it in place. Just edit a shadow here, like something quick. So you can see here is not too much of a difference in detailing, but it's more about, like I started to do the shading work. Here I just did a black and white version. Well, I introduced a layer, a saturation layer, which was black and white, so then I could do the work on shadows and just introduce the gradients, shadow gradients. Then there was a color correction on top, and it was a bit too bright, too saturated, so I'll lower it down to this. You can see here, for example, I was thinking about this whole assembly. There's a structure inside, there's one plate, then there's another plate, and an empty space inside, which is can host some kind of equipment. some boxes and all that. Okay, brought back the cables. So if you're talking about the cables, I had to think about them and how to make them look better. I was thinking they were making this whole bit look a bit too busy, but then if you're thinking about the correct way how it should hold together, it has to be there to hold the structure in place. So lighten this up, doing another color correction pass. And if you look in the end, I've just added this cable that goes from that drum down to this here, so it's like a power cable. I could have actually had two, like a duplicate energy supply. So it goes there and helps to rotate all the wheels, the motors inside of them. So later I passed this concept to my student, and he built this whole model in Maya. He used the 3D scan here for reference. I'll put all the links in the description for different reference packs for 3D and also for ArtStation, my ArtStation, and Jin Yuan's ArtStation as well, so you want to check it out. So essentially I was helping him out, and especially on the parts which were invisible, which I didn't draw. Well, I then sketched them out and also gave some reference points what I would want to see. Like you can see here, we have the structure for it to go up and down and rotate around this platform. And also we've added some bits like that gas tank is made it a bit more like a real used case, and some ammo boxes and all that. So we departed from the concept itself a little bit, so the vehicle got a bit wider, and some of the objects you might see that got placed in different parts, but it's pretty much a natural workflow when you create a new bit. You change it. It looks in 3D, it might look a little bit different, so you start to change parts to improve the 3D look of the model. Okay, so thank you everybody for watching. I'll put all the links in the description, and see you in the next video.